Hi everyone, how are you doing? I'm so excited. I've been playing with black ink because I'm finally ready to tell you the good news, which is that Blink, our brand new blacker than black, super matte, ultra flat ink is ready. Thank you so much to all the artists in the art community who've helped us beta test this over the last few months. Thousands of you have filled in the questionnaire and let us know your thoughts. The good news is you all pretty much said it was the best black ink you've ever tried. So that put me in a bit of a strange situation. I don't know how much better I can make it. So the right thing to do seems to be to share this with all artists. So the big news is Blink is available from today. But let me show you what's really special about this. So obviously it's amazing to draw with. If you see here, this is a little drawing I did earlier with a little bit of a brush. So it works very well to be brushed on. And as you can see, it's very black and extremely matte. In a minute, I'm going to compare it to this stuff. This is Speedball. This was, for years, my favourite black ink. I used it for just about everything that I made. So it'd be nice to do a comparison on that. And I'd love to show you what it does with a dip pen, because I know a lot of you, the calligraphers, the pen and ink crew, you love a dip pen. So I'm going to demonstrate that for you. And then I'm going to show you the most amazing thing about this ink, which is the fact that it is completely and utterly waterproof. It will not bleed, it will not run, which means you can colour straight over it. So first of all, let me give you a little demo of how it comes off the brush, because the nice thing about it is the body is a little bit thicker than what you'd expect. And as it rolls off, you get such a lovely, flat, even line. And that will dry matter and matter and matter as it dries out. So that's absolutely gorgeous. What I might do is just compare it to the Speedball. As I say, you know, I've tried loads of inks, and actually this was my personal favourite for so many years. Loads of my paintings, loads of my drawings, I used this ink. And what I liked about it was the colour and the flow, which is just fantastic. But you'll see something interesting as it dries. Meanwhile, I think we should just have a quick look at it on the dip pen, because I know so many of you will be using it for that sort of pen and ink drawing. So you might be, I don't know what you're doing, maybe doing a bit of cross hatching, a little bit of fine detail there, and it picks it up perfectly, and it's not going to clog your tip. That's the most important thing. That's no fun at all when it gets clogged. So as you can see, you get that lovely fine mark making that you'd expect from a dip pen. A little bit of comparison here. I'll show you what happens with the Speedball, and this is quite interesting. I mean, obviously we can compare this to a million inks, but yeah, it's nice, it's lovely, tends to blob a little bit, but yeah, it's a nice ink. But the interesting thing happens when we start to want to do something else with our work. Perhaps we want to colour it in. So here I have one of my watercolour palettes, and maybe I'll dive into, I'll tell you what, wouldn't it be interesting to give, should we give Pluto like a kind of, should we colour his hat in? That might be nice. So we've got a nice bit of watercolour there, and I'm going to paint his hat in. There you go. I'm deliberately going all the way over the edges. No bleed at all. Absolutely amazing. If you've ever had the pain of spending hours and hours and hours on a piece of work only to paint over it and the whole thing bleeds, you just know how bad this is. This is not going to happen. Your line work is preserved. Whereas, if you'd have been getting involved with the Speedball, oh look, big, mucky, black, yucky mess. And that is the last thing you want. It is a flipping nightmare. However, absolutely no shift whatsoever on the Blink, which is absolutely phenomenal. And you're going to find the same thing on your fine line work. Whereas, oh, it's a flipping disaster. And it's not just the Speedball. We tested it against literally hundreds, because the beta testers were involved too. We tested it against literally hundreds, and it really is the most stable, the blackest and the mattest paint. The other thing that's interesting is when you start looking at this from an angle, here's a bit of Speedball. It looks good initially, but when it dries, it's so flipping shiny. If you give it a second to dry, you'll start to see as it dries, it's just that gloss sheen, and you're never going to get that super black finish that you know and love that you get from something like Black 3 with an ink that isn't truly matte. So if you're ready for a really black, super matte, really rich ink that won't bleed, then Blink could be really useful for your work. It's out from today. You can click below if you want to use it. Do share the work that you make. I love so much seeing what you do. Let me know what you think. And for those of you that did do the beta test, I've taken on board all of your comments and suggestions, and some of those will be trickling out in new versions of the paint, of the ink. But the important thing is this is good enough to share, and I can't legitimately hold on to it anymore. I think artists need this. I think a lot of work's going to be saved. So thank you so much. Lots of love. Bye.